Welcome to the Bobby Moe Show. Chris Shovlin here with head football coach Bernard Clark Jr. coming off a huge 46-0 win over Virginia University of Lynchburg. Bernard, I'm going to ask you to think back in your career. How many times have you been involved in a ball game during which the offense takes the field, first play of the game, and scores?
Very rare, to be totally honest with you, even against me. So it's one of those situations where it's very rare. I felt like our offense went out and they established early along with the defense. Defense went 3 and out, offense goes out and scores. So that establishes early the type of tempo that we wanted to set and how we wanted to play.
12 seconds into possession, 60-yard bomb. Anthony Chickett put the ball right where Noah Robinson was going to grab it and take off to the house. And the Colonials were up 7-0 at that point. Describe that play for us.
Well, that play there was one of the situations, play-action play. So it was a situation where Anthony was able to roll out, brought the safeties up a little bit, and they had man coverage on the outside. And, I don't know if they studied film, but it's kind of hard to bump and run with Noah Robinson. Noah Robinson's having a pretty good year for us, and they pressed him, and he managed to beat the press coverage, and Chickett put it right on him, just like you said.
He has become a star, and I'm talking about Noah Robinson right
Yes.
now. Chickett's doing
Absolutely.
great too,
Absolutely.
but Noah Robinson has become a star here at Robert Morris. Tell me about him.
Well, Noah's a young man that we found in the transfer portal. He was at Old Dominion, but he's part of our family now, and we're excited to have him as a part of our family. And what he's done is he's exploded. I mean, it's a situation where he did a little bit against Air Force, he did a little bit more against St. Francis, so each week he's kind of building his resume and doing an outstanding job at it. And the guy that's getting the ball to him is a guy that played a few games last year, but had an opportunity at Air Force. Unfortunately, Tyler went down and Chickett stepped in. The good thing about Chickett stepping in, and I know, he started some games last year. Even though we had an abysmal year, he played some games last year. So he got adapted to the college game and adapted to the college speed. And he's proven he's capable of doing those things right now.
He's really stepped up well, considering the fact that Tyler Zolkowski was supposed to be the starter this year and was the starter at Air Force, and he got knocked out of the game out there. But it seemed like Anthony has really improved by not just a step, but several
Absolutely.
steps.
I agree with you 100%. But the thing that he's done more than anything is his confidence is built. And the players around him, his teammates, their confidence is built in him. So that's why he's been able to run the offense the way he's capable of running the offense. He's doing a great job right now.
And he's been an amazing story in and of himself, too.
Absolutely. And I know. Yeah. I mean, what he's been through and being able to go through that, football is kind of secondary. It's kind of a minute situation for Anthony when it comes to pressure.
Yep. What is interesting about his performance this past Saturday is not only did he throw that touchdown pass to Noah Robinson, but the second possession, 2 plays, 81 yards, took 49 seconds off the clock, and he hits the tight end, Landon Lucas, with a 66-yard strike. After that, Kamon O'Sullivan had a 21-yard reception. Chase Jackson had a 34-yard pass reception, all by Anthony Chickett. He used 4 different receivers, put 4 touchdowns on the board before the first period was over.
Yeah, he's been doing a good job of spreading the ball around. Even though Noah has gotten the majority of the plays, he's done a good job. You look through it. I mean, a lot of our guys have touchdowns. And the one with Land, I got to correct you. And I told them they got to correct. It's an 80-yard touchdown. It wasn't a 66-yard touchdown. But no big deal. I want the young man to make sure. And we give Chickett another 14 yards. So that's the great thing about it. But he's doing an outstanding job of spreading the ball around. And Coach Firm, our offensive coordinator, Josh Firm, has done a great job of organizing those things and making sure our guys' heads are on straight when they're doing those formations, when they're lining up, when they're faking the ball. All those things are important, and we let our guys know this is why it's important. You have to run the fake this way. You have to do it this way because everything's a part and the intricate part of our offense.
This team has really grown up. I mean, considering what it went through last year to now, many of the same players are still here. You brought some others in through the transfer portal. Some other grad students are here as well. But, basically, we're seeing such progress with this football team. It has to be gratifying.
Well, the great thing about it is our offensive line's back.
Yeah.
That's the same offensive line. We had 3 redshirt freshmen, a true freshman, and a redshirt sophomore last year. That's that same offensive line, but one little intricate part, and that's our offensive tackle, Ryan O'Hara, who came from Miami of Ohio. But everyone else is there, so that's the gratifying thing of it. We're doing these things on offense with the same offensive line, so those guys are getting a taste of what it feels like to win some football games and play hard in some football games. So those things have been real exciting for us. And on the defensive side, it's pretty much the same defensive line and the same linebacker. So it's just like you said, we've got some guys who went through what they went through last year, but also having a little bit of taste of success this year.
And one of the guys missing from the offensive line is Hayden Barron, who got knocked out for the season.
Unfortunately, Hayden got knocked out for the season. He had a I think it's a Liz Frank in his foot, but he's one of those guys. He was one of our cornerstones of our offense. But the guys that have stepped in, you know, Dante Thompson, we bumped him over a little bit. Diego is doing a great job. Like I said, Ryan O'Hara is in there. We got Jan, we got Riley Kemper, and we got Luke, you know, in the middle focal point of our offensive line at center. So it's a situation where those guys have played together and they're excited about playing together. And Coach Holder's done a great job with those guys.
All right, we're going to come back and talk about the defensive side of the football. We spent a lot of time on offense here in this first segment. Bernard Clark Jr. is the head football coach here at Robert Morris University. Defense follows these messages right here on the Bobby Moe Show.
The Penn State Nittany Lions are coming to Moon Township. Robert Morris Basketball hosts Penn State fresh off last year's big dance in an exhibition to benefit Coaches versus Cancer Friday, October 27th at the UPMC Event Center. Get all the details along with season and group ticket info by calling 412-397-4949.
Welcome back to the Bobby Moe Show. Chris Shovlin here with head coach Bernard Clark Jr., the Robert Morris football team, off a 46-0 win over Virginia University of Lynchburg, and the Howard Bison are coming up next week. Another big game coming up. We'll get to that in just a little bit, but I want to talk about the defense. The defense got some points on the board themselves this past week, didn't they?
They got a couple points on the board. The great thing about it, they didn't give up any points, so that's that's the positive thing. But they did a great job. I mean, Coach Plungers has been here with me since I came. Our defensive coordinator has done a great job of organizing those guys and putting those guys in the right position to make plays. And the one guy that really helped us out was when we threw that pick. And unfortunately, we threw a pick, but Andre Cooper did a great job of running the guy down, knocking the ball out, and then turning around and catching the touchdown. So the defense has done a great job of stabilizing things. Like I said, the first drive, they were 3 and out, which put us in position to establish what we wanted to do. So they've done a great job on defense also.
That was amazing, getting that ball back at the 1 yard line. And I know that Andre Cooper is an offensive player, but he turned into a defensive player on that play.
He understood that a defensive back didn't carry the ball a whole lot. So he was carrying that ball a little loosely. He was able to knock that thing out. Like you said, then turn around and then go and score was extremely important. And the defense was excited about it. Like you said, they managed to get 2 points. They got a safety. We also had a few sacks. I think we had about 6 sacks and a ton of tackles for loss. So we did a great job of getting after these guys and understanding the things that the coaches have been telling these players all year long. So they started doing some of those things, and those things helped us out on Saturday.
You know, in the beginning of the year, people were asking me, what's the strength of Robert Morris on defense? And I was saying the linebackers, but it seems like everybody from the front line to the secondary, everybody's pitching in right now, and you're getting some good team defense.
And that's what it boils down to. We're getting good team defense. I wouldn't say this group's better than that group. What we're doing is we got some good team defense, especially with the guys we just brought in, because Shakespeare was hurt last week, and also with William Barber. Those are 2 starting safeties, but the 2 guys we put in there, Britton Pascal and De'Avion Pierce, both those young men are stepping up. Now, even though they didn't play where they were, one came from North Dakota State, the other one came from Miami, Ohio. They didn't play a whole lot of snaps, but they gave us a lot of snaps. And they did a great job on Saturday of stepping in and doing the things they needed to do. But that defense is exactly what you're talking about. It's a mixture of a bunch of guys playing well together and coming together and being able to get that shutout.
But you have to love that next man up mentality.
Absolutely. You got to know that that's going to happen. Those things, I'm probably I always talk about next man up because that's how I got my little bit of glory that I had back in Miami, because I was the next man up in a big game. In a big game. So I always preach, you know, we have it right outside of our door, preparation plus opportunity equals success. So if you're prepared for those opportunities, you're going to be successful. So let's continue to have some success.
And speaking of being prepared, a lot of guys got a lot of playing time this past week. Typically, they don't get in all that much, but you had a couple of quarters of football for the younger guys, the backups, to get in there and prove their stuff.
And that's the thing that's important, because like you just said, next man up. You never know when it's going to happen. So getting those younger guys an opportunity to get on the field and getting acclimated to the speed of the college game, it was really important to us. So we want to make sure we got those younger guys in there later in the game.
All right, we're going to take one more time out. When we come back, we're going to talk about this coming week's game against the Howard Bison, one of the HBCU teams that Robert Morris faces year in and year out. Tremendous football program. We'll talk about them right after this on the Bobby Moe Show.
Have you checked out the Bobby Moe Exchange? You or your business can support our more than 450 RMU student athletes through our NIL Business Registry. Get connected today at rmucolonials.com.
Welcome back. Final segment of the Bobby Moe Show with head football coach Bernard Clark Jr. We have one of the great traditional football teams of college football coming in to play Robert Morris here at Joe Walton Stadium this coming Saturday. The Howard Bison. This is a team with great tradition. This is a good football team coming in.
It's a very good football team. As a matter of fact, the head coach and I coached together at USF. So he was our assistant offensive line coach at the time. The defensive coordinator, him and I also coached at USF. He was a defensive back coach at the time, and Coach does a great job. Coach Scott does an outstanding job of getting these guys organized. You watch them on film, they're powerful. I think they're in the top 5 right now in offensive play in the nation. So they're doing a great job offensively. They got some weapons they can do it. Quarterback's a real good player. They got a stout offensive line, and defensively, they got some of the faster linebackers we haven't seen in a long time. So we got to make sure we go out there with a great game plan. Our guys need to execute it in order to win this football game.
And I hope we get a big crowd here at Joe Walton Stadium this Saturday. We had a really nice homecoming crowd. Unfortunately, it started raining. Everybody ran for cover.
Absolutely.
But they were watching it from afar, listening on the app, watching ESPN Plus. But again, you know, you've been getting some great support for the home games, and we hope that continues.
I definitely hope it continues. And we've started a new tradition. The guys wanted to do it. What we do is we meet over on campus, and then we walk through a tailgate alley upstairs, and we come down to serve, and then we go down to the middle of the field and we say a prayer. So the guys are kind of excited about that, and walking through the tailgate area, the fans are hollering for them. So it's been a great thing for us. So we hope we continue to get those crowds. It's exciting about it. And remember, we got special teams doing. They're doing a great job. I mean, the special teams play was a huge one. As a matter of fact, when the guy had to run him down after the block PAT, and we called him, so he got a 2 again. Save the defensive shutout. So that's the great thing about it. So our guys are working well together, and so I hope we come together on Saturday.
And that extra phase that people don't think about it. I mean, they think offense, defense, but special teams, 1/3 of the football game.
Absolutely.
It is truly important, and again, it was important this past week. Speaking of which, your kicking game is pretty solid.
Kicking game is real solid. Coach Tansky's done a good job with those guys. He's made it simple. It's like I told Coach Tansky, what we don't do, we're not worried about winning a game with special teams. We don't want to lose a game with special teams. So consistency is the thing we're looking for. So we're constantly looking for players who understand the importance of getting down there, because it's going to be the first play of the game, regardless of what the situation may be, whether it's kickoff or kickoff return. It's going to be the first play of the game. And with PAT field goal, that's always points. It's either points for defense or points for offense. So we got to make sure we understand those things when we're stepping on the field, how important special teams is.
Not to mention your punter, George Souders. He's been here forever, and I tell you what, he kicks like he's like playing on Sunday sometimes.
My man is a great leader more than anything else. He's basically the one that runs our special teams practices, making sure our guys are doing what they're supposed to do on the sideline when special teams is not going on the field, making sure they're staying in tune to what's happening. So he's been an unbelievable leader, and the fact that he's going to be a teacher once he graduates, even stronger. I love the young man.
There you go, an educator already here on campus. Coach, finally, a win this coming Saturday puts you over the 500 mark, and that's something I know you've been shooting for.
Yeah, there's no doubt we're shooting for that, because like you said, last year was a rough year, but the way our guys are playing and how they're playing together, we feel real good about it. If we continue to do that, I think we'll get the victory. If we don't, then it'll be a problem or anything else. But again, like you said, Howard's a good football team. I mean, they're a real good football team. Their record doesn't speak for, they're 1-3 right now, but that doesn't speak to how well they play and how hard they play.
All right. Colonials do the same, so it's going to be a good one this coming Saturday. You can watch the game on ESPN Plus. You can listen to the game on the RMU Athletics Game Day app. More importantly, you can come to the stadium and see this thing in person. Absolutely. Because it's going to be a banger.
Ain't no doubt. Let's do it.
All right.
Let's go, Bobby Moe.
Absolutely. That's Bernard Clark Jr., the head football coach. I'm Chris Shovlin, the play-by-play voice of the Colonials. We'll talk to you next time here on the Bobby Moe Show. Thanks for tuning in.